All right, sure. Your main man, Professor J. Pillar Bay, right? So we're gonna go back to ancient and modern Britons. I wanted to show you something real quick. Every season, so we're gonna go right to the chair, right? He says, what may be called genealogical evidence of the existence of black-skinned races existing in Scotland within historic times has already been adduced considering the Moors, right? And so let's go to another page, right? He says, the Gypsies, then whom we are already described as Moors, were also known as Saracens, the term being indifferently used in heraldry and old romances, right? Hold on. Talk about Tyler. And right here he says what? The Moors or Saracens, the Danes, and other kindred races and Gypsies were virtually the same people under different names, right? Moors, Saracen, Danes, and other kindred races, right? And then he said the Gypsies were already described as Moors, who were also known as Saracens, right? And then down here he says, the hair, black or brown, inclines to the coarseness is often frizzled. My fault. Outwardly, as within Gypsies, present strong contrast, some being strangely hideous, others being beautiful, though not with a regular conventional beauty. The hair, black or dark brown, inclines to coarseness. It is often frizzled and does not soon turn gray. The complexion a tawny olive. What color is an olive? Green and what? Black, right? Or dark, right? People are not green. Let's get out the way first, right? Was compared by the Plymouth Pilgrims in 1622 to that of the Indians of North America. The complexion of the Gypsies was a tiny olive, was compared by the Plymouth Pilgrims from 1622 to the Indians of North America. Now think about that, right? It's interesting. And then he says, the tradition of black man living in Scotland, right here, the tradition of black man living in Scotland within the memory of man was noticed in treating of the Moors, who were all in probability the same race substantially as the other black Europeans under whatever name, right? A counterpart to Black Marrow of Galloway is seen in a traditional Black Knight. A tradition of black man living in Scotland within the memory of man was noticed in treating of the Moors, who are in all probability the same race, substantially as the other black Europeans under whatever name, right? Now peep this. All right, so we're gonna go right here and say Yale Law Avalon. So we're going to Yale Law School, right? And it said we're going to the treaty with Morocco, June 28th and July 15th, 1786. So we got the days to show that this must be real, right? So let's click on that. Then it says the Barbary Treaties, 1786, 1816. Treaty with Morocco, June 28th and July 1786, right? It says certified translation of treaty and of additional article were incorporated in a document signed and sealed by the ministers plenipotentiary of the United States. Cut up by each other part. It says treaty and the additional article ratified by the United States in July 1787. Right? My fault. It says certified English translation of the treaty and the additional article were incorporated in a document signed and sealed by the ministers plenipotentiary of the United States, Thomas Jefferson, at Paris ships, right? So that's so Thomas Jefferson was there, right? So we go down. So we just read David MacRitchie. It says, Number 6, if any more. So it's if any black man should bring citizens of the United States and their effects to his majesty, the citizen shall immediately be set at liberty and the effects restored in a like manner. If any more, right? We know more mean black men, right? Not a subject, black people, right? Of these dominions should make prize of any citizen of America, United States, or their effects, and bring them into the ports of his majesty, they shall be immediately released, and as they will be then considered as under his majesty's protection. Right? And so, we go down. Now, how could that be if we enslaved, right? Then we go down. For 21, it says, if a citizen of the United States should kill or wound a Moor, or on the contrary, if a Moor should kill or wound a citizen of the United States, the law of the country shall take place and equal justice be rendered. The consul assisting at trial, and if any delinquent shall make his escape, the counsel should not be answerable for him in any manner. Now, they would have said a consul. That's a consulate, right? When you're dealing with a foreign country and they take you to consular court, right? Not no civil rights court or nothing like that, right? And then how, they say more means black man, right? It said a citizen of the United States will kill or wound a Moor. Okay? So let's go back to ancient and modern Britons when he says, in the tradition of black men living in Scotland, within the memory of man was noticed in treating of the Moors, who were all in probability the same race, substantially as the other black Europeans under whatever name. So Moors, black men, the same race, right? And then over here it says, if a citizen of the U.S. should kill or wound a Moor, or on the contrary, a Moor should kill or wound a U.S. citizen. Now, why doesn't it sound like an African-American citizen? Huh? The law of the country should take place and equal justice be rendered. And a consul should not be answered as what? As someone escapes. So where's our consul at, right? Still in ancient and modern Britons, right? And look what he says here. What may be called a genealogical evidence of the existence of black-skinned races existing in Scotland within historic times has already been adduced in considering the Moors. The evidence of existence of black-skinned races has been adduced when considering the Moors, right? Okay, so let's go back to this again. Number 21, if a citizen of the United States should kill or wound a Moor, does that sound like, if any Moor should bring a U.S. citizen or their effects to his majesty, the citizen shall immediately be set at liberty. Now, if you're just so much in, think about that. Where are you getting this power from, black people? How could you get a United States citizen and bring him to his majesty? Did anybody tell you about his majesty? Right? And so look, what this say. The Barbary treaties. The treaty with Moors, Morocco. June 28th, 1786. So I just wanted to show you that, right? Because he said the genealogical evidence of existence of black-skinned races in Scotland within historic times had already been induced in considering the Moors. Black-skinned Moors, right? They get this here elaborate. This is page 136. Look what he said again. A tradition of black men living in Scotland within the memory of man was noticed in the treaty of the Moors. Let's go to page 117. What may be called genealogical evidence of the existence of black-skinned race in Scotland within historic times has already been adduced in considering the Moors. Well, I guess it's something you need to go study. Because you see they got your name in here when you're dealing with the U.S. and it doesn't sound like you were docile. And Thomas Jefferson was there, right? He know there'll be more. He just did Simon Hemingway so bogus. But you see, if any more shall bring the citizens of the United States and their effects to his majesty, the citizens shall be released, shall immediately be released, be set at liberty, be released, and their effects, their stuff restored. And in like manner, if any more, not a subject, right? So basically, you get the point, right? So this your boy Jay Pillar Bay. Get your library up and keep on studying. All right. Peace.